All right, I'm back with another wrestling DVD review, and now this time it's the Macho Man Randy Savage story. It's the recent documentary that WWE came out with a couple weeks ago. As you can see, the front cover. It's a simple cover, has Macho Man in the front. Here's the side view of it, and then the back cover has a couple of pictures. Now I was really looking forward to watching this. I was never really a Macho Man fan back in the day. I was always like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, but I did, I didn't hate the Macho Man. So with the documentary, it's a 90-minute documentary. Now you're not going to get like details of each feud he had. They're not going to go into like discussions about his feud with Ric Flair or Ultimate Warrior or Jake the Snake Roberts, that feud. The documentary starts out with Lanny Poffo, which is his brother, and you may know him as the Genius in WWF. He's at the site where Macho Man had the car accident that that he eventually died from. And then it goes, talks about the beginning of his career, and it talks about how his first love was really baseball. And I'm telling you, seeing the pictures of Macho Man, back in the day when he was playing baseball, he looked totally different. I mean, you wouldn't even think it was Macho Man. And just talks about, he's trying to, become, go into the major leagues. And, unfortunately, I guess baseball was in the cards for Macho Man, and he decided to, become a wrestler like his dad. And just talks about the beginning of his career. He started, I guess, in Memphis. Jerry Lawler's had, with Jerry Lawler, and then WWF, the early days in WWF, and they talk about like how, how he brought Miss Elizabeth, his real wife, as his manager. I think originally they wanted to have him with Missy Hyatt, but he decided, my wife, let's bring her in. They talk details about his relationship with Miss Elizabeth and how he was, I guess, very controlling or very, he was a jealous guy, they said, and if you look at Miss Elizabeth, he would get jealous, and he was very protective of her. And there's one story where he said that he was, I guess, on some like tour, and he bought 20 TV dinners for her so she didn't have to leave the house. And I think that kind of resulted in the end of their relationship. Talks, of course you're going to have to include Hulk Hogan in this, the Mega Powers, and they talk about their relationship. They also talk about how, the end of the relationship between Miss Elizabeth and Randy and how it affected him. And, he was off TV for a while. I guess this was pretty much around the end of 92, beginning of 93. And he wanted to make a comeback, and I guess Vince McMahon thought, wanted to, promote the younger guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, and Diesel at the time. He wanted to go in the younger direction. So Randy Savage was, they made him like a commentator. Lanny did mention that Randy wanted to do kind of like a retirement match. And the person that he wanted to feud with was Shawn Michaels. And he said that Randy developed a 2-year program with Shawn Michaels that would end with Shawn Michaels beating him at a WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Vince McMahon, I guess, didn't want to do it and decided. And then, Macho Man still felt like he had more to contribute in the wrestling business. Now, you think about it, that was about 94, 95. And I think Macho Man still had. He still could go. That would have been a good feud. I think Shawn Michaels versus Macho Man. I think that would have been a really good match. Anyway, so he goes into WCW, and they talk about Vince McMahon. One of the things I wanted to get this DVD was to find out why is Macho Man blacklisted from WWE. Now, everybody was able to come back, like Hogan was able to come back, Nash, everybody that had bad, like even the Warrior came back. We've always wondered all throughout the years, WCW ended in 2001. and all this time, why Macho Man never was able to return either for a Hall of Fame or, you know, like Hulk Hogan would come back. He had like 2 runs with WWE. So I was just wondering why, you know, Macho Man never was invited back. And I mean, they got into a little bit of it, and they said that Vince McMahon, I mean, of all the people that left WWE for WCW, they said that Macho Man leaving hit Vince McMahon the hardest for some reason. I don't know. They said that Vince McMahon was very upset that Macho Man left. And you have to think when Macho Man left was around like 94, and WWE wasn't doing so good. Their you know, the product wasn't. I mean, for some people, said the product wasn't good, and I guess that had an effect on Vince McMahon. Also, someone also said that, you know, they talked about Slim Jim, like Macho Man was the spokesperson for the Slim Jim commercials. They had a really cool behind the scenes of one of the commercials, and this just shows how nice the Macho Man is. And they were doing the interview, and Macho Man was like saying, you know, I have 30 takes in me, whatever you guys need. So he was really like, I mean, he was really a good guy, it seems, through you know, through this video, DVD. And then I guess one of the things is they were talking about how he was blacklisted or something. I guess a couple years ago, I guess around, it had to be like 2003, maybe 2004, I'm not too sure. Macho Man did a video on his website, and he was pretty much bashing Vince McMahon and bashing Triple H. And he made some comment referring to Stephanie McMahon, saying that Stephanie needs to go on his back or something like that. I mean, you can watch the video and see that. But maybe that's the reason, because, you know, maybe Triple H was offended by it and decided, you know, I don't want to work with this guy ever again. And also, Macho Man was kind of offended by WWE when they started airing those. Remember those like Billionaire Ted videos with the Nacho Man, and then they had the Hulkster and all that. They said Macho Man was really upset by that. And then I mean, and then it ends with, you know, Macho Man. They say that he reunited with an old girlfriend and married her. It seemed that his life was happy, and I really believe that if Macho Man lived, he would have, I think, come to terms with WWE, and he would probably have made an appearance, or, you know, I guarantee he would have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. I mean, if they could resolve their differences with the Ultimate Warrior, I'm sure they could have done something with Macho Man and Randy Savage. So let's go through the matches. What you're going to get on this DVD. Now, I mean, there was another DVD that came out with the Macho Man that had more. It was more of the matches. So basically, you got here the Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat from Superstars, November 1986. So this was, what's cool about this match is it was the match that really started the feud that led to the match at WrestleMania 3. You have Macho Man against Bruno Sammartino. Then you have another Macho Man Ricky Steamboat match from February 1987. I guess that was the pre-match before their big one at WrestleMania 3 against Harley Race. And then what was cool is you have a cage match. It's a 6-man cage match. Macho Man teaming up with Strikeforce against the Honky Tonk Man and the Hart Foundation. I remember watching that as a kid. I had it on an old tape of steel cage matches. Macho Man versus Ted DiBiase, Macho Man versus Bad News Brown, Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan from Madison Square Garden. I guess it was a house show, April 1989. And then you have Macho Man versus Roddy Piper from 1990. Macho Man versus Shawn Michaels, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. I don't think I ever saw this match. It was actually from Germany, April of 1992. I guess Macho Man was the champion during that time. Macho Man versus Ric Flair from Hershey, PA, September 1992. I think that might be the match where Ric Flair won the belt back. Macho Man versus Arn Anderson. Now we go to WCW. This is from WCW Saturday Night. Wow. Macho Man versus Ric Flair from Super Brawl 6, February 11th, 1995. And then the last match is Macho Man Randy Savage versus Diamond Dallas Page from Halloween Havoc in 1997. So, I mean, the matches are not great, but the documentary itself is definitely worth checking out. So, this is the Macho Man Randy Savage.